May I invite our moderator of this session, Ms. Olivia To, Senior Vice President, Sustainability Technology, Innovation and Entrepreneurship of Invest Hong Kong to proceed on stage. Please also join me in welcoming our panelists to the stage for the panel discussion. They are Mr. Victor Cheng, Director of Sustainability, Hong Kong-Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park, Mr. Chun Yin Mak, Global Senior Vice President, Univers, Dr. Paul Cao, Managing Director, Earth and Environment, Hong Kong and Mainland China, WSP Asia Limited, Mr. Willy Paterson-Brown, Chair, Board of Directors, Cleantech Building Materials PLC, and last but not least, Ms. Doris Kwok, Deputy General Manager, Tianqi Lithium. And Ms. To, over to you, please.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So as you can see, this panel, we have two ladies and circle two four gentlemen in the room to making sure that these discussions would be engaging, would be also very interesting dialogue. So welcome to the section 2. This would be the sections about green tech and new industries, decarbonization as a growth strategies. I'm Olivia To from Invest Hong Kong, and it's my absolute pleasure to moderate these discussions. So for a long time, I think business look at decarbonizations as a compliances and also a cost center. Today, we are flipping the script completely, we can say, because at Invest Hong Kong, we also see it as a massive catalyst for economic growth and also a strategy to attract global businesses. Right now, we have a historical blank, I would say a canvas for us that we can play every color that we wish in the upcoming growth engines in the long-term metropolis. So we also have a mega hub like the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Hub and also the Hong Shui Kiu Industrial Park that will be taking the shape in the long-term metropolis. Of course, this would be a mega development plan backed up by the capital supported by the Hong Kong government. So our goal is really to think about how we can shape this mega hub to be industry-oriented, but also green and sustainable industrial hub and technological park. I think this panel would be mixing about AI, smart digital infrastructure, as well as circular manufacturing and critical material, I would say, that we are building an irreversible green industrial sector. I think this would be a showcase about the upcoming features on the industrial park that we can imagine. So to help us map this out, I am joined by 5 incredible experts who are leading this charge from the tech, infrastructure, as well as the resources sectors. Let's kick off with a quick lightning round, and I would like to invite each of our speakers in 1 minute or less. Could each of you briefly share about your company solutions contributing to the sustainable development of local economy? Maybe we can start with Chun first.
Okay.
Yep, would you like to?
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Chen Mak. I'm the Global Head of Product, Technology, and Professional Services for a company called Univers. We're an 8-year-old company, Singapore headquartered. We specialize in being the AI platform that supports all physical operations for energy, asset, and operationally intensive industries like energy utilities, transportation logistics, the built environment, and also industrial manufacturing as well. We grew up as Singapore's country-level IoT platform. We were very fortunate to be selected by the Singapore government for that, and therefore we have worked across the entire Singapore country on many, many fascinating projects as well. So glad to be here. Thank you very much.
So just one thing, I thought you guys have the slides of presentations. Would that be pop-up? Just like to check. Okay, already there? Okay. Would you like to add on anything, Chun?
Okay, I got to spare half a minute. Okay, so I'll talk about free numbers. So on our platform globally, we are currently managing more than 400 million devices, assets, pieces of equipment. Second, in our platform, we actually manage generation assets, renewable generation assets that actually generate more than 1 terawatt of power, which is more than 20% of the entire world's global renewable energy capacity. And then our clients have used our technology platform to actually avoid 541 million tons of carbon, which equates to 15 times the annual production of greenhouse gas for Hong Kong. Those are the only supplements. Thank you.
Thank you, Chun. So, Victor?
Okay, so I'm Victor. I'm the Director of Sustainability for the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park. So the company is sitting in the Heretao area, and which is the Heretao Cooperation, the Innovation INT Cooperation Zone as well. So you can see on the slide there, so you can see the Shenzhen River, and then it looks like we are on the island, and that is the area of 87 hectares. So this is the one of the project which is funded by the government, and it will be the first project, or one of the first project, which is for the northern metropolis as well. So you can see we'll develop from the west all the way to the east, and you can see the walkable bridge, which is the west side one will be completed by the end of within the next 12 months as well. And right now we have 3 buildings, which is on the first phase for the batch 1. Which is completed already, and within the next 24 months, then we will have another 5 buildings who will be completed for our batch 1 as well. So we are attracting different incubators or startups and companies to come here to as part of the innovation and technology roadmap for the Hong Kong and the GBA as well. So
thank you, Victor. And Paul?
Thanks. So happy to be here. Paul Cow from WSP. I'm the head of environmental services for WSP, which is a engineering consultancy company. I think the slide is missing, but we populate about 83,000 people around the world. And for the purpose of this panel discussion, the point I'd like to really bring out is that in our decarbonisation journey, no single consultant, material provider, energy provider, software, or even Victor managing estate, we can't act alone. And I think the energy and the purpose of us is making a solution which is more than the sum of our individual parts. So as you can see from the slide, carbon exists in the entire life cycle of the project. And so we must work together. I'm very happy to hear David saying that from a government's perspective, they will support this. But I think hopefully having the panel discussion today will bring us just one step closer towards that final goal.
Thank you, Paul. And Willy?
Hi, Willy Paterson-Brown. I'm chair of Cleantech Building Materials. I established a company 20 years ago where we take fast-growing, sustainable softwood pine, treat it with vinegar, which is a non-toxic chemical, pickle the wood, change the metabolic structure of that piece of wood, and thereby turn a piece of pine into the performance of oak, teak, and mahogany. And if you look at the picture there, the standout project for Accoya Wood today has been the new Google headquarters in London. They were committed to a carbon neutral footprint, and the only way they were able to do that was to use a significant amount of Accoya wood, offsetting the various other high energy intensive building materials that they were forced to use: steel, concrete, cement, aluminium, hard plastic, PVC. And by using the amount of Accoya wood they did, they achieved their carbon neutrality for the building. With the growth of the Northern Metropolis and the Innovation Park, I see lots of clients in this region and look forward to spreading Accoya on a large scale, particularly in the Hong Kong region.
Awesome, Willy. So, Doris?
Hello, I'm Doris Kwok from Tianqi Lithium. Tianqi Lithium is a listed company both in A and H share market. Lithium is our core resource, so we focus on new energy industry. Lithium play an important role in clean energy, especially in battery for green transport and energy storage. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
No worries.
Okay. Tianqi set up the regional office in Hong Kong in 2021. And this year, our first overseas advanced technology R&D center will be established at the Loop, HSITP. Besides the R&D, we also support and invest to our recycling business. So from Tianqi, we think we invest and support the new energy industry, recycling, energy storage, and sustainable development to local economy and community.
Sorry. I'm sure that you have, because you have so many significant plans in mind under Tianqi that you would like to share in the upcoming questions. So I will come back to you again, Doris.
Okay.
I would like to start with talking about the green tech ecosystems. Okay. Let's start with the grounds we are building on. When it comes to the brand new urban developments, we must embed sustainability from day one. So one of our core questions focusing right on this foundations for new urban development, like Victor mentioned about the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Innovation Technology Park, what we must embed it in the early planning stage is a key questions. I would like to start with Victor, actually, since you are architecting, in the long-term decarbonization roadmap for the HSITP to attract the global firms, just like Tianqi. So what is your view? I mean, what must be embedded in the early stage planning, and what we should get right in the next 5 years?
So I guess I can use our company as an example to really talk about what can be embedded to really help for the net zero roadmap as well. So for our company, what we set up is we have a vision that we want to really to get to net zero by 2045. This is kind of aligned with what the Hong Kong government has been doing, which is they have the very clear 2050 the climate action plan. So as part of the government-funded project, we get the agreement by the board or by the senior management that we have to do this before the project even started. So I think this is really given the trail rail that the company, how we are going to head into as well. And then it really comes to the infrastructure, because the first thing that comes to the park is we have to build the asset for different stakeholders. So the challenge is we cannot really to implement a really hard cap to certain environmental requirement, because the project is going to take years, and the technology will changing as well. So that's why we have to consider the feasibility for the technology development, what it will be like for now and for after 5 years or 10 years, what it will be like as well. So for us, it's a challenge that we have to give feasibility, but also like a goal for every party when they come to the park to try to build an asset for us as well. What we do is we have to really to look into different existing technology that we can do, like renewable energy integration. And then we also have to look into the green transportation as well, what it will be like after 5 years, how our people can transport, can really to move, to commute to the park as well. Then we also have to look into build a new circularity model, that how we can really to reduce the carbon along the way as well. So this kind of commitment that we have to make and then to communicate with not just up, and also to all our partners as well. So for example, we heard a lot about PPP this morning, how we are going to collaborate with government and with the private sector as well. And for carbon, for net zero, is even tougher, because we cannot put it as compulsory requirement, because it will really to lose the flexibility that we can provide to the investors as well. So how we are going to construct the requirement and how to really communicate our requirement to the investor is very important as well. So, but this is all the talks that we have really embedded in the really early stage, that how we are going to implement and try to communicate to our stakeholders to make sure that everybody is working under the same goal, that we are heading to the net zero.
Perfect, Victor. So you speak from a project applicant's perspective in early stage planning. On the other hand, we have Paul here. He can also, do you have any comment about a 5 years window, and from your professional point of view in early stage planning, how do you think we can do more?
Sure. I'm so glad that I'm hearing the word early in so many of the conversation, because I think it is very, very important that to maximize the benefit of decarbonisation, it has to start early. And true to my word, I'm going to try to steer the conversation towards a holistic program, because I think we have to do it together. And so from a perspective of how to set the initial planning, and I know you said, Victor, earlier that some of the carbon requirements may not be mandatory. I might challenge that. Because I think we do need to advance in terms of putting down standards, requirements, setting it early in our planning, because if someone doesn't take that initiative, then I'm just going to pass the ball to the next person. As a consultant, we hear many reasons, 10,001 reasons as to why we don't want to use green products, because it's more expensive, it's more difficult to use, it doesn't comply with standards. But we failed to give a reason to go ahead. So I think we need to shift our culture and our focus a little bit in terms of thinking how and why we can make it work, as opposed to why it can't work. So I think we all have responsibilities. I think the government also has a responsibility to set the standard in terms of, putting out tender specifications. And this is an example I'll use, is very rarely do we see a requirement in a tender specification for a carbon baseline study, period. It's just not there. So without a baseline, how do we measure decarbonisation? So we've got to start somewhere. There's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of discussions about, what is carbon worth? At the moment in Hong Kong, it probably doesn't have a worth. In other countries, there's a carbon tax, there's a carbon credit. So when do we start that journey? Maybe the panel can't answer that question today, but it's certainly something we need to look at. And there's also practices right now that in projects we often do in engineering, we call value engineering discussions. So throughout the life cycle of the project, we would actually sit down, talk with the project proponent, contractors, consultants, sit down and say, well, what can we tweak in the design to save costs, save materials, make it go faster? But there's no focus on carbon. So it's not difficult to actually ingrain a little bit more, go a little bit step further, and do something for carbon. Last but not least, as I said, carbon endures the entire life cycle. We're at the start of our journey in Northern Metropolis, so it's very obvious that we're focusing on the design, the construction, operation, but we rarely talk about the end of life cycle to make the circular economy, which is also very important. So it's probably too early to discuss it for Northern Metropolis, but again, we have to think holistically. Northern Metropolis is a big project, but it's not a standalone project. There's a community, there's an environment, there's a neighborhood to it. We might be at the start of our journey, but there may be other projects at the end of their journey that we can take advantage of to make it a circular economy. So again, think outside the box, think bigger, and we need the parties to help involve to make that vision bigger.
Thank you, Paul. You mentioned about passing the ball to Willy. Really, because I'm the only one on the stage that I have the script, I know that it doesn't supposed to pass the question to you, but since you are named it, I would like to pass it to you.
I'm happy to pick it up.
Sorry
I think it's
about that.
great what Paul said. You can't eat an elephant other than one bite at a time, I was once told. And when things just fog over and you can't see through it, just one step at a time. And the environmental crusade is one that I've been on for 34 years. You know, half of you in this room was still in school when I started doing it. And back in those days, it was like trying to push a piece of string uphill. People weren't listening. If we had this conference in 1992, when I first started out in the business, there'd be very few people who I'd be talking to, you know, which some people will say that's a good thing. But what I've found is that local impact is the biggest thing. You do it yourself. Get into the habit of sustainability. Resilience, it's brilliant that resilience is in the title of this conference today, because the whole idea of sustainability is resilience. Resilience from a business, resilience from a personal standpoint. Get in the habit of just living it. And so the holistic approach that Paul is suggesting is brilliant. You've got to do it together. You've got to find the right partners. You've got to have the right attitude to do it. And it starts to flow a little bit more freely. So don't beat yourselves up that we could do more. Of course we could do. We will always have to do more. But so much has been done to get to the point where sustainability is something that we all now agree with, because 3 decades ago, that wasn't the case. Today it is the case. So I congratulate everybody to come to the conference today, to hear about it, to talk about it. How can we do it better? Of course we can do it better, but we're on the right track.
Thank you, Willy. I think some of the speakers also mentioned about how we're going to do so, what kind of measurement we should take the data. So data readiness is actually another important factor. And I would like to pass the questions to Chun as well, because you are leading co-moderate in AI and data infrastructure, as well as the data monitoring to make companies approaching the net zero goals. So from a data infrastructure perspective and readiness perspective, how do you think about the digital infrastructures need to be embedded in the new development zone that they're focusing on the innovation technologies?
It's a great question, Olivia. And look, as a Hong Kong-born person, I think the Northern Metropolis is an opportunity of a lifetime and a generation to get it right at the beginning. This early stage planning and all that. And in addition to regulations and measurements, there's something around digital readiness built into these greenfield developments. Because oftentimes, the majority of what we deal with is brownfield, right? There aren't a lot of buildings and sprawling new neighborhoods and new bridges and lakes being constructed. The Northern Metropolis is being created right now. And I think instead of talking about reimagination, we should really think about the things that we could and should and must do in terms of digital sensory that we can embed at cost-effective means, in terms of setting up not siloed, but really kind of community-wide, metropolis-wide monitoring capabilities as well. And I think the more that we take a step back and think about the entire district as a whole, and think about how energy, equipment, manufacturing, production, and carbon can be managed holistically and optimized holistically, I think that would actually give us a lot of direction in terms of what we need to do up front. And most certainly, it is not too late. It is not too late. Like when all the buildings are up, when all the people are in, it's still not too late, but it's much harder than it should be or needs to be as well. And I'll just give a couple of examples. One is the Punggol Digital District in Singapore, also northern Singapore as well, kind of way out there, newly or recently built. And they're designed to be much more net zero carbon friendly than the other districts in Singapore. We're currently working with the government construction agency called JTC to actually build the first nationwide smart grid into the Punggol Digital District with a number of different use cases that leverage battery storage, solar panel generation, charging capability, electrified transportation and movement, and also consumption as well. And obviously, we don't do any of the equipment and hardware part. We use our software, or we work with them to use our software to optimize, orchestrate across that really complicated portfolio of equipment, energy, assets, etc. So I think there's a great opportunity in the Northern Metropolis across all these different component parts that are being put together to leverage an idea like that. The other example I would share is we're working with a lot of big organizations in building out these net zero industrial parks. Now these are massive industrial parks that basically at the end of the day, each year, they do not create any additional incremental carbon footprint, right? So it's highly renewable dependent, whether it's wind, whether it's solar. There's a lot of battery infusion in there as well. There's also a lot of manufacturing as well. And in doing so, you can actually create this circular energy economy within that net zero industrial park. And going to Paul's point, it's not just about altruism. It's not just about doing good for Hong Kong or the earth. Those net zero industrial parks actually consume energy at the lowest unit cost compared to fossil fuel energy as well. But it takes design, it takes thinking, it takes pre-planning, but it's very economically worth doing, actually. And in addition, you get all the benefits of sustainability, of lowering carbon, of doing all those great things that we should do as a humankind. So those are just some of our learnings as well, Olivia.
Thank you, Chun. I think you have already touched to a point about technology convergence and how can we, integrate this kind of advanced technologies into planning, but also on attracting business to landing at the zone. So I would like to turn to Doris because your company is already listed in Hong Kong, and I understand that you are building up a R&D team in Hong Kong on circular materials, manufacturing, various of approach to capturing your business in Hong Kong and also in Asia markets. Can you share with us about what should be the development of Northern Metropolis be focusing on nurturing businesses like you? What kind of support like you as a technology giant that you think we should provide for company that could drive you to growth in Hong Kong?
I think for the new development area, I think it is better to create a complete green industries ecosystem. One say that is a little bit different from the technology park. It is because it contains everything inside. It have the upstream material company like us, and the midstream company like the components producers, manufacturer, and the downstreams like energy storage solutions provider, and it has the investor, R&D institutes, and the infrastructures operators. All of them can work together. From a point of view, I would like to share my point in terms of industrial aspect. What we need in the plans from the beginning is like the infrastructure should support the real industrial need. Like industry, we always need more space, and we need the reliable power supply. We need the testing facility, and we also need the logistics. I mean, the company actually can move fast from R&D to a commercial application if we can build the complete ecosystem. And like the energy storage should be part of the infrastructure too. Why I say that is if green energy is our target, so it must be built into the district power system. So it is kind of a system integration. And also we need to consider about the EV charging infrastructure and also renewables energy planning. We also need to consider about the recycling facilities, also material recovery. So what we concern the most is to make it competitive, it is better to put the industrial application concept from the beginning of the planning.
Got it. So ecosystem as a whole, from your perspective, is really on everything, right?
Yes.
Because you're new to Hong Kong market, so you would like more support, and also not only in the physical infrastructure support, but more on an ecosystem, including the investor, including the business partner, and also government approach support that would be favorable for your landing in Hong Kong. So this would be on a good side, and I think we have confidence that Hong Kong stakeholders that we have been joining hands to work on this together. On the other hand, I just would like to turn a little bit about the limitations and back to Paul. Because infrastructures, as Victor and also Willy mentions likely about that perspective. But on the other hand, we are talking about the digital transformation as a whole, and how can we make their plan to be more industry-oriented, right? So what, in terms of the physical reliability, how do you think? How do you think if we cannot get the physical infrastructures right, or redesign it right?
Okay, I'm going to be the naughty boy of the panel, because I think everybody is pro about AI technology, and I think this is all good and it must come. I'm going to be the naughty boy and put some challenges up to the team, and just use two examples. Energy comes to the top of the mind when we talk about data centers, digitalization. The other one is ecology, which David also mentioned. So in terms of Northern Metropolis development, if I'm not wrong, Sandy Ridge data facility has been penciled in as the main data processing facility for Northern Metropolis. It's slated to be a 220 megawatt facility, consuming about 1.8 billion kilowatt hours per year. And I don't know what the audience thinks about 1.8 billion kilowatt hours. Does anybody actually know what that means? I mean, if Olivia won 1.8 billion Hong Kong dollars tomorrow at Mark 6, I think you will also struggle about what
that
what
would
it
be
actually
attractive.
means. That would be attractive, yes. But to put it into more layman terms, 1.8 billion means about energy to support about 500,000 average Hong Kong households, which, again, for Hong Kong average building, it's over 1,000 residential buildings. And I don't know if people can picture that. I assume some of us have gone to Lois Park in Chun. That's one of the bigger developments recently. Very compact, efficient. Just interested, how many in the audience have gone to Lois Park in Chun? Quite a few. Okay, 1.8 billion will support 10 Lois Parks. That's how big it is, to put it in perspective. So the challenge to support what we say we're going to do, we need to solve this problem. And it's not an easy one, but it's one that we have to face. We'll need batteries, we'll need materials, we'll need good management, we'll need good software. All of that has to come into play. And all of us have a part to play in that. So it's certainly something we need to keep in mind for. The second, I won't speak too much about it because I think David addressed it a little bit, is ecology. So for most of you, you would know that North Metropolis sits in the Ramsar designated zone, which is a UNESCO-backed initiative where every season there's over 50,000 migratory birds which fly from Russia down to Korea, Japan, down through Hong Kong, into Southeast Asia, and some of them go all the way to Australasia. And the current wetlands, fish ponds, all of those things that we wish to develop upon, those are the points of stop for our migratory birds. So we need to be careful in our planning. There is a need for us to develop, but by the same time, we need to either compensate or increase the value of a reduced footage of ecological space for these migratory birds. So again, all for pushing for development, but we just need to be careful, and the challenge is for us and our next generation to continue this sustainable development.
Perfect, Paul. You mentioned about two things. One is on energies, which we will have an attractive return if we can, targeting it right on the spot in a correct approach, right? On the other hand, you also mentioned about the ecological conservations. So I would like to talk about the cause of decarbonizations. No matter this is on environmental protections or it is on their energy saving, everything in terms of hardware implementations, it would be having the cost implications. So really, you are a pretty successful British firms for having the carbon negative building materials that you also showcase about your projects in partnership with Google, that they have your materials on their headquarters in UK. How do you think about when people comment about it has a cost when we talk about decarbonizations? How could you pitch them in terms of the leading firms to use your materials?
Yeah, I think what Kevin said in his opening remarks, the chairman of BEC, what he said earlier is, can we afford to do it? Can we afford to be sustainable? The question is, can we afford not to be? That's the question. I couldn't do what I do without Chun, without technology, without what Paul does, without engineering advice. I couldn't do any of that. That's not what we do. We're good at what we're good at, and we get advice, and our strength is we know what our weaknesses are. And that's where we have to go and ask for advice and help. Now, it's very different than it was 20, 30 years ago in talking to companies about what they should be doing with their building, and I have to talk just purely to the building industry because that's what my specialty is. But, you get fabulous blue chip companies who do this because they're now conscious about it. I found in my hotel room, I thought it was a good example, they put in your hotel bathroom, make an impact. Don't use 2 towels if you can use 1, because we're trying to be environmentally friendly. Fabulous. They're not going to do that and then go and build a teak deck around their swimming pool because they're shooting themselves in the foot. So once there's consciousness, you can help educate them as to what they should be doing. Don't be using PVC or aluminium window frames. It's terrible. Don't be using PVC on anything, actually. So when we go in for a pitch, it's not just a case of saying, we can help you get to carbon neutrality. It's a case of, do you realize what you need to be doing beyond us? Because it's not just us that can help you. There's many other companies as well. So I think it's just the general story and the general acceptance of it. And it comes back to repetition, resilience. It comes down to resilience of the pitch that you give to people and what you do yourselves.
Perfect. So I think you were mentioning about turning costs into a bankable change that could be on everything, basically, if we can make it bankable, right? So Doris, because Tianqi, you go through the IPO stage in Hong Kong, and then you make your company portfolio to be one of a successful bankable solutions, and attracted a lot of investors and also private equity interests. So can you share with us, I think one thing is, besides of making your solutions that could be going through the IPO stages and also be attracted by investors, can you share more about what kind of advantages that Hong Kong must hold that could win the global competitions for the green journey in Hong Kong?
Yes. Let me be cautious what I want to say. But for the decarbonizations and ESG, actually, I want to have some supplement information. Because I think it is critical for risk mitigations and value creations nowadays also. And actually, it is a kind of an index that to evaluate an enterprise has the ability to go into a global capital market. So let's talk about what Hong Kong's strongest levers to make we have the strategic positions to win the global green industry. I think the most important question is how Hong Kong and maybe the Loftons, Metropolis can create the competitive advantage in green industry. Hong Kong's strongest levers are finance, trade, international connectivities, technologies, coordination, and supply chain integration. I would like to use Tianqi as an example also. For the finance and trade, just like why Tianqi set up a regional office in Hong Kong. It is a key platform for us to go globally. And it is for our international business development. It is for our trade coordination, for financing and partnership. So besides, I think the technologies coordination, like Hong Kong has a very successful and matures technologies and innovation platform. We can encourage the collaborations between the industry, R&D institutes, and investor and the government together to speed up the commercializations of new solutions. And for the supply chain, things like you mentioned at the very first beginning, lithium is kind of a critical minerals materials. So it is a very important and strategic material to support the clean energy. It is very important for green transportations and energy storage and other clean energy applications. However, it still have gaps and uncertainty for the supply chain. So Hong Kong can serve as a hub to connect the upstream critical resources, minerals, with downstream applications. And we have the very international financial center, investors, and everything. I mean, actually, Hong Kong can add as a hub and can help to co-organize the ecosystems. I'm still talking about the ecosystem. And also, Hong Kong have the best location. Hong Kong is part of the Greater Bay Area. So it can act as a bridge to connect the mainland industrial capitals, capacities with the global resources and to international market. So all of the above, I think Hong Kong has potential to become the hub to leading the green economies in Asia.
Thank you, Doris. My last questions, I would like to pass it to Victor. So Doris mentioned about various of advantages that Hong Kong shall hold, and we must hold, and we also would be continuing to hold this on. The next question is, can we do that? Can we do that in the park as well? How can we put these advantages together through your plaque? Do you have any views or comments?
I guess it's possible, I guess, because this is a question from our customers. So you never say no to a customer, right? So yes, we can. And the first thing I think when I heard Doris, I think her advice is really, really true and down to ground as well. I think this is what all the customers are asking for. So they need goods, they need people, they need capital, and they need data as well. So this is what the park that we are going to, we're the first testing bed, I mean, actually for Hong Kong, to test this policy, the new policy, how to really to disrupt is really strong. So try to build a side door to the framework that we have been using for a long time. Can we speed up the goods exchange between mainland and Hong Kong? Can we exchange, let the people to flow? Physically, physical people or goods is easier because you can monitor. You can set up policy or technology help to really to facilitate the movement between mainland and Hong Kong. I think it's still possible. It's very possible. So we have been doing it. Whether it's through the whitelist or whether it's a green channel, it will be happen at the park. But the next one is getting harder and harder. So data is going to be another level of challenge because data is not something that you can physically control. So, but mainland and Hong Kong has different framework to govern the data. So this is also a challenge for the integration between Shenzhen and Hong Kong, not just Shenzhen, but mainland and Hong Kong as well. So, but there will be some new policy. I think we are going to facilitate whether we can help the companies at the park and whether it will set up the success case and then to really to push it forward to other areas in Hong Kong as well. And the last one, the toughest one, I think we also heard it many times in the earlier discussion panel as well. Capital flow is regulated by many hurdles. From mainland to Hong Kong, from Hong Kong to mainland. So it's not just from the private equity or from any private fund as well, but also the project or the development project, they get the grant or the funding they get from mainland or whether from Hong Kong. They cannot start a project in Hong Kong if the funding is coming from the mainland government. So whether our park can really to facilitate this transformation is also another chance for the capital to flow. If you have a free flow of capital, that is another level. So I think first we have to really focusing on the capital associated with the project or the development. Then one step ahead, but step by step. So to see whether we can also applicable to a bigger area in Hong Kong as well. So yeah, back to your question. I think from our dear customers, so Tianqi is asking. I think this is what we are working on, and I think this is the chance that we can really to break the wall and try to see to make a success case as well.
Thank you, Victor, for the positive notes. Before I open up for the questions from the floor, I just would like to turn to Chun for one last question, because you are pretty unique. Your company, Univers, is pretty unique because you headquartered in Singapore. And after hearing, since you're also here today, after hearing all of the panelists' views, I just would like to ask why now that you are moving part of your team from Singapore to Hong Kong?
It's a great question. I mean, when I think about what's currently happening in Hong Kong, the transformation opportunities here, I think this is really the next stage of our city. And the reason why is everything that I've seen happen in Singapore or the work that we do in Europe or the phenomenal marketplace that we have in Japan as well. I think the technology, at least our technology right now, is absolutely ready and poised to actually support the next stage of development for Hong Kong. I think that's one reason. Second is, as we work with a lot of our global clients, whether it's HSBC or DBS, as our clients, but also as partners in green financing, they help drive our technology out there. In case in point, we also announced a partnership with Hang Seng Bank in Hong Kong to support their green financing transformation along with their partners as well. So I think right now we're so excited about Hong Kong is because the marketplace in the city is at a point where we believe that everything that we've done in other places can play a substantively contributive factor in the city's next step development. And that's why we're investing, we're trying to hyper grow in this amazing city. At least for me, it's home as well.
Thank you, thank you. There's brilliant remarks, I would say. So I would like to open up the floor to our audience. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and name your title and your organizations. And yeah, feel free to raise questions. And I also welcome the questions from online. Please. We will take 3 questions together, and then we can invite our panelists to answer it together. Okay?
Hi, thank you for the panel. Priscilla from Schneider Electric. I'm curious about the topic on decarbonization as a growth strategy. What sort of policy or regulation that is needed from all of your perspective that can really drive this discussion going forward, whether from the upcoming climate action plan or the 5-year plan? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, just would like to ensure we don't miss any questions from online. How can I see the online questions? Okay, from the floor. For the climate action plan, Paul, would you like to shed some light for us?
Yeah, I can certainly speak a little bit about that. I mean, at the moment, there are some policies given to assets and buildings for frequent energy audits, assessments. There are, which you're very familiar with, lots of design schemes, particularly, I think Beam Plus was mentioned earlier on, which touches on energy. There are things which are generally pushing in that direction. But from a consultant's perspective, and in many cases, I think we were aligned in some of these pursuits, is that it can be more prescriptive and it can be more encompassing. And is it something that can be done like tomorrow, it's going to be done like this? Obviously, we could, or government could decide to do such things, but the market response to how these things evolve may be a factor. So certainly, I think in terms of general governance, I perceive it's moving in the right direction, but the strength of that governance and the pace of that governance, it's something we certainly can work with either as an industry, which we're both in, and also with the respective government departments. So I think, to answer your question, I believe it is in the right direction, but in terms of strength, we could accelerate in terms of application.
Thank you. Other panelists, any things to add on?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, and my speciality is very limited compared to the other guys on the panel, but there's a decision at the very beginning, to have carbon neutrality in a building. That's one thing, but then what do you do going forward? What are the costs of everything going forward? So are you going to put a building in place that doesn't need maintenance for 10 years, for 20 years, for 30 years, whatever it is, the decision that you're making on day one? That's the first thing. And then the other thing is, what energy are you using and which companies are you using it with? And what is their policy? Because on the one hand, government drives it to a degree. On the other hand, who is the company that you're working with, and do they have a consciousness about it themselves? We've had oil companies come to us and say, can we buy carbon credits from you? And I'm not really interested in doing that. So what are you going to do other than just spending money to try and reduce what you're doing? Let's see some action instead. So yeah, governance and government policy is one thing, but attitude and resilience, I'll keep coming back to it, is the other thing.
If I may, maybe just one last thing. I think from a software technology point of view, the way AI currently exists actually provides a force multiplying acceleration factor to the testing, verification, a lot of these policy concepts that used to take a long time to validate. Case in point, we've done quite a bit of sandboxing activity, not only in Asia, but also in a couple of countries in Europe as well. And the fact that we use software technology to do it allows us to short circuit that lengthy process that used to take half a year, 2 years to actually get an answer. And I think that's something that the Hong Kong government or the entire city, the ecosystem can consider to really test these things out. Because it's hard to define policies that automatically or by default will be highly effective. But the fine-tuning of the incentives, the measurements, the regulations, how do you actually incent and drive enterprise behavior, I think that, if done well in a more flexible and agile, software-enabled and empowered manner, is the way that we could think about it together going forward as well as an option.
Thank you. Thank you for the highlight and also the. Victor, you would like to add on?
Yeah, I also want to supplement once regarding for the growth, how decarbonization really related to the growth as well. So growth can be to the society. So you create jobs, you create opportunities for people to really jump in. And for the investors, so it's also we have to really demonstrate, they have to look into a longer term of return. So this is always a challenge for decarbonization as well. So in the long term, you will have cost reduction, you will have your brand equity, then you will also attract more talent because of how you really position yourself as well. I guess this is just a short supplement, whether it's to the question as well.
Thank you. So
maybe I can share
sure.
some points from the industrial also. Like Tianqi, we also need to involve to some standard setting, like ISO, Lithium sustainabilities, product carbon footprint management, and like this. So I think it is value created, and also we need to support our customer to do the ESG due diligence because we one of the supplier. So conclusion is everyone needs to involve to sustainability because it is a requirement nowadays, and attitudes is more important also.
Thank you all. I can see that the guests in the room right now is right in the middle between the lunch at the back and also the panel discussions on the stage. Okay, if I may, I just would like to give a short summary of our discussions. First is really about the smart and planning, proactive planning that we can integrate our green standards in early stage from day one, basically. And second is really about the technological converge using AI, smart infrastructures, as well as the circular materials that we can optimize our whole systems. And last but not least is really about unlocking the bankability by leveraging Hong Kong financials and supply chain DNA, as well as our capital power that included our talent as well to scale these green solutions globally. So I just would like to thank our panelists again and would like to invite you all to join me to one more questions? Do we have time, Merlin? I'm okay for that. Okay, please.
Yes, Carly, I'm a student. I'd like to ask about asset recycling because from a financial angle, for some assets that take a long time to materialize after, let's say, 5-10 years, for a company to invest that much capex at the start is a cost to the balance sheet. I wonder for all panelists involved in infrastructure development and construction sector, what do you see in this capital asset recycling programs that are being launched? Thank you.
Okay, I'm not going to answer your question. I'm going to answer a different one because what you mean is more on capital assets. But I think that it's a good question, a good opportunity to jump in and say something, because one of the things that we do and we encourage with other suppliers for ourselves is the recycling of raw materials. So it's not just a question of using wood that's FSC certified, that's in a recyclable program, replantation. We recycle the vinegar that we use. So we recycle 90% of the vinegar that we use in the process, clean it, reuse it again. So you take 11 sets of vinegar, one set of vinegar for 11 different cycles. So, as far as assets are concerned, sure, you're interested in the profitability of it. But in terms of the raw material that you use, the water that you use, take the water from the bay, use it for cleaning in your facility, clean that water and put it back in the river cleaner than it was when you took out. These are all things that lead to a cradle-to-cradle gold certification. So sorry not to answer your question, but I'm taking it straight back to the assets as opposed to the money.
Can I be a naughty person again? Because I had a discussion with a taxi driver on the way here about EV battery vehicles. And I guess when you purchase an EV, the battery is an asset. Give it 5-6 years, we've got a problem. And when we have the number of EVs that we have in Hong Kong, that compounds to a very big problem. I don't know if Doris, you can actually speak a little bit about EV battery retirement, recycling, and how that cycle needs to work, because I think as a community, me included, will face that problem. Sorry, I'm being the naughty person as I'm just shifting the question to someone else.
Actually, I think everyone knows that the first batteries recycling factory has been built up in Hong Kong already. So it is a big and the first big step. It is what Tianqi is also involved in the recycling business is that we want to add value because now the step maybe we make it as the back mass. And then we have the technologies, we have the resources. So we hoped we can add the values to the recycling business to make it as the right matter. I mean, extract the materials again from the black mass. I think fundamentals is the raw materials and resources is limited. So it is necessary to direct the recycling. I think this is the principles. I'm not talking about the capital. Yeah, so it is necessary and it is the trend that we need to find out the solution to recycle the products.
Thank you, Doris, and also all of the panelists. Before we close, just 1 second. Any last questions? No. Okay. Okay. So please join me to thank our brilliant panelists again, and also thank you all for staying with us, and hope you enjoy the rest of their environmental series. Thank you all again. Thank you.
Thanks, Olivia, and also our panelists for the inspiring and interactive discussion on how to embed sustainability measures and green tech into urban development, which helps also promote economic and social growth. Would you please come forward to take a group photo together? Maybe can the photographer give some advice here on how they... Thank you once again, and please take your seats.